US President Donald Trump hosted his first White House iftar dinner for Islam's holy month of Ramzan. The dinner comes as the Supreme Court considers legal challenges to Trump's travel ban. US House Speaker Paul Ryan said President Donald Trump should not pardon himself, weighing in on the president's assertion that he had absolute power to do so. Trump made the pardon comment in a series of Twitter posts in which he criticized the federal criminal probe into whether his 2016 presidential campaign colluded with Russia. President Donald Trump signed the VA Mission Act of 2018 into law, allowing some veterans to receive health care from doctors and hospitals outside the VA system. That includes 150 hospitals and nearly 1,000 outpatient clinics. The Syrian government reopened the highway between the cities of Homs and Hamas a month after its forces retook a rebel-held pocket that had straddled the road that was closed for almost 7 years. Palestinians buried a man shot dead by Israeli forces during a raid in the occupied West Bank on Wednesday. Forces had killed the 21-year-old in cold blood with 3 bullets at close range. The European Commission said the European Union should start applying rebalancing duties on US imports in July in response to US tariffs imposed on EU steel and aluminium. Donald Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, accused U.S. Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigating team of trying to frame the president in its probe of Russia's role in the 2016 U.S. election. U.S. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump visited the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or the FEMA headquarters in Washington, D.C. to get a briefing on the preparations of the 2018 Atlantic hurricane season. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo met with Japanese Foreign Minister Taro Kono one day before Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is due to hold bilateral talks with President Donald Trump. The United Nations Human Rights Chief said Bangladeshi security forces have shot dead around 130 people and arrested 13,000 in the past 3 weeks since the government introduced a zero-tolerance policy against illegal drugs. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has asked Pakistan Army Chief General Qamar Bajwa to take action against terrorist groups without any distinction. Pompeo spoke with Bajwa over phone, where they discussed ways to advance U.S.-Pakistan bilateral relations. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said the United States is aware of reports that Iran plans to increase its uranium enrichment capacity, and Washington will not allow Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. Facebook faced criticism from Republican and Democratic U.S. lawmakers who demanded that the social media company be more forthcoming about data it has shared with 4 Chinese firms. Cambridge Analytica's former chief denied deliberately misleading British lawmakers, even as he admitted that his firm did receive data from the researchers at the centre of a scandal over Facebook data, contradicting his previous testimony. Britain is concerned about the deaths of protesters in Gaza. Prime Minister Theresa May told Israel's Premier Benjamin Netanyahu, adding that the situation had deteriorated. UK Prime Minister Theresa May refused twice to answer whether her government would publish its Brexit negotiation policy proposals ahead of the June 28th to 29th EU summit. May said, "The Brexit Secretary and I agree. We want to publish a white paper that goes beyond the speeches and the papers that have been given and published so far." Britain's Brexit Minister David Davis said security cooperation between the United Kingdom and the European Union was too important to be negotiated away in Brexit talks. Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte comfortably won a confidence vote in the lower house of parliament, confirming his government's majority after promising tough negotiations with Europe over the economy. "25 fire engines and 120 firefighters were called after a huge fire set ablaze the roof of a luxury hotel in Knightsbridge in central London. The cause of the fire is not known as yet. An explosion at a grain storage facility in the eastern French city of Strasbourg seriously injured 3 people. It was not immediately clear what caused the blast, which set ablaze the silos located on the banks of the River Rhine, on the border with Germany. Russian President Vladimir Putin shared his expectations for China-Russia relations and the expanded Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and also answered questions regarding the Belt and Road Initiative in an exclusive interview with the president of China Media Group. State carrier Air China resumed regular flights between Beijing and Pyongyang as diplomatic relations improve between China and North Korea. China's flag carrier indefinitely suspended flights between the 2 cities in November, citing poor demand. China and Kyrgyzstan agreed to establish comprehensive strategic partnership. The agreement was reached during talks between Chinese President Xi Jinping and visiting Kyrgyz President at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. German Chancellor Angela Merkel called for a common EU asylum policy, warning that a failure to find a joint solution would call the fundamentals of the bloc into question. Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz confirmed several EU countries are discussing setting up a camp for rejected asylum seekers in a country on the continent, but outside the European Union. US President Donald Trump will hold bilateral meetings with French President Emmanuel Macron and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau during a summit of the group of 7 leading industrialized nations. Canadian PM Justin Trudeau met with French President Emmanuel Macron in Ottawa ahead of this week's G7 summit. Leaders from Canada, the United States, Japan, Britain, Italy, France and Germany and the EU are scheduled to attend the June 8th to 9th meeting in Quebec. White House's top economic advisor said US President Donald Trump is not backing down from the tough line he has taken on trade, setting the stage for a showdown with top allies at this week's G7 summit in Canada. Thousands of police officers from across Canada are helping to secure the G7 as world leaders and protesters converge on Quebec. Leaders from Canada, the United States, Japan, Britain, Italy, France and Germany and the EU will attend the summit in Quebec on June 8th and 9th. "400 sub-Saharan migrants stormed the double fence separating Morocco from the Spanish enclave of Ceuta, but were for the most part contained by Spanish police. 2 migrants, one on each side of the border, were reported injured as they attempted to jump over the 6-meter high fences. More than 1,000 Jordanians continue to protest against tax hikes near the Prime Minister's office in Amman. Protesters waved Jordanian flags and chanted slogans such as "We are free and are not afraid of death" in a rally that voiced anger over a draft law to raise income taxes and IMF-driven reforms. Violent clashes between anti- and pro-government groups raged on in the Nicaraguan city of Granada as tensions between the government and protesters show no sign of any respite. Reports suggest 2 have been killed and some 20 others injured in the violence. Tens of thousands rallied in northern Greece to protest against a possible compromise solution to a long-running row between Athens and Skopje over the ex-Yugoslav republic's name. Thousands of Chileans, mainly students, demonstrate in the streets of Santiago asking for more equality and less sexism in education and in society. The Israeli and Palestinian Football Associations traded accusations of the cancellation of a World Cup warm-up match between the Jewish state and Argentina in Jerusalem. Israel accused the Palestinians of football terror, saying their threats saw Barcelona superstar Lionel Messi and his team abandon what would have been Argentina's final friendly match ahead of the World Cup. Peru's Congress opened a debate on whether to dismiss popular lawmaker Kenji Fujimori on corruption charges, the latest twist in his battle against his sister Keiko for control of their father's political dynasty. Kenji is accused of attempting to buy votes to keep disgraced former President Pedro Pablo Kuczynski from being impeached. Venezuela's main opposition alliance, the Democratic Unity Roundtable, welcomed the decision of the Organization of American States to reject last month's elections and calls for increased international pressure to push for desperately needed humanitarian aid corridor. Spain's Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez unveiled a new pro-EU government with the most women in modern history, with 11 female and 6 male ministers. The new executive, composed by the 46-year-old ousted Conservative veteran Mariano Rajoy as Prime Minister last Friday in a no-confidence vote. As former South African President Jacob Zuma addresses the rally 2 days before he is due to appear in court over 16 corruption charges, his supporters continue to champion him, saying he has not done anything wrong. India, Japan, Australia and US, who revived the quadrilateral security dialogue in 2017, will meet on the sidelines of an official ASEAN meeting in Singapore. The meeting will be at the level of senior officials, that is, at the Joint Secretary level. The United States and China have not yet reached a deal on Chinese telecom giant ZTE. The company was fined $1.2 billion in March last year. In April, US banned the sale of crucial US components to the firm after finding it had lied multiple times. Dramatic video showed the moment ash clouds emerged as the Fuego volcano erupted on Sunday in Guatemala. The death toll from a devastating eruption has climbed to an estimated 99 and some 200 remain missing. Firefighters have rescued several dogs and farm animals from the disaster zone after fire volcano eruption in Guatemala. Videos uploaded by the firefighters department since Sunday's blast show them holding rescued dogs, chickens and turkeys. US soldiers are working to evacuate Hawaii residents as a growing river of molten rock flowing from a fissure at the foot of Kilauea volcano is believed to have demolished scores of additional homes and filled in a small bay at the eastern tip of Hawaii's Big Island. Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj visited the Phoenix Settlement Trust, a South African heritage site in Durban, which was once a home to iconic freedom fighter Mahatma Gandhi when he was in South Africa. President of India's opposition Congress Party, Rahul Gandhi, addressed a farmers' rally in central Madhya Pradesh state and promised to waive farm loans within 10 days of coming to power. As northern India simmers under heat wave, rains are likely to lush western part of India. Indian Meteorological Department has indicated heavy rainfall will hit parts of Karnataka, Goa, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. Heavy to very heavy rainfall is likely to occur over coastal Karnataka today and thoroughly throughout the state from 9th June to 11th June. Four new RAF F-35 Lightning stealth fighter jets have landed in the UK. The jets made a 3,000-mile journey across the Atlantic from a US Marine Corps base in South Carolina. The UK's military has committed to purchasing 138 of the US planes from aviation company Lockheed Martin. A stolen letter written by Christopher Columbus detailing his discovery of the New World has been recovered and returned to Spanish authorities. The letter, one of 16 copies, was discovered missing from the National Library of Catalonia. Motorbiking fan, Britain's Duke of Cambridge, Prince William, joined fans to watch the Isle of Man TT races on Wednesday. Prince William is expected to visit the Joey Dunlop Foundation, a charity that provides accommodation for visitors with disabilities to the Isle of Man. US tech giant Microsoft has submerged a data center off the Orkney archipelago in northern Scotland in a project to save on the energy used to cool the servers on land. The Northern Isles data center consists of a 12.2-meter-long white cylinder containing 864 servers, enough to store 5 million movies, and can lie on the seabed for up to 5 years. The flying car project backed by Google co-founder Larry Page was closer to takeoff on Wednesday with a model for test flights by aspiring buyers. Kitty Hawk, funded by Page, unveiled a flyer model which is described as an exciting first step to sharing the freedom of flight. Three astronauts departed from the Baikonur Cosmodrome for the International Space Station. The crew will remain on the space station for more than 5 months. A 67-million-year-old Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton was unveiled in Paris's Natural History Museum. Scientists estimated that the T-Rex weighed more than 5 tons when it was alive. The T-Rex skeleton will be displayed for 3 months in Paris. Bernie Sanders supporters become the subject of the new documentary, A Campaign of Their Own. The film follows New York-based Sanders activists as they campaign for the U.S. Senator from Vermont to win the Democratic Party's nomination for president. Showing his support for the #METOO movement, Hollywood writer-director Woody Allen has said that he should be the poster boy for the movement. Allen added that he's worked with hundreds of actresses, has always had a wonderful record with them. Earlier, the filmmaker's daughter accused him of harassment. Hollywood actress Frida Pinto is set to star with Hollywood actor Orlando Bloom in a film titled Needle in a Time Stack. The film is an adaptation of a short story by Robert Silverberg. The story of the film will reportedly revolve around a couple working to hold their marriage together in a world where time travel is possible.